like one of the main causes of divorce in the US, number 3 reason is snoring. If you see someone who doesn't cry when you're supposed to cry, then that's a dangerous person. You can be in the first stage of a relationship for a very long time, like Solomon. One of the main causes of lesbians is dysfunctional families. Like for me, my pastor gave me a certificate and he didn't tell me what I'm getting into. So when you see somebody jump from one relationship to the next, like Solomon, it's an issue to do with what I call emotional illiteracy. One of the main reasons as to why many people are depressed is because of broken relationships and broken marriages. Yeah, it's a form of loss and grief that is worse than death. Why? Death has closure. Oh yeah, a happy wife is a happy life. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Resilience Couch. This is where we re-energize discussing all matters mental health. In our today's episode, we are going to discuss about marriage. In our studios today, we are privileged to have our psychologist who is going to take us through. Psychologist Isaac,
Yes, sir.
would you mind introducing yourself?
Okay, thank you so much, Kefas. My name is Isaac Kamau, and I'm a psychologist, majored more in the area of thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. And I'm glad to be here, and I know we learn one or two things, or three, or even four, or five. You're welcome.
Thank you. The first question
Yes,
that
sir.
my viewers have been asking me, what is happening in the marriages that we are having so many dramas of late?
All right, thank you for that question. I'm privileged to be talking about this issue because I've been doing quite a lot of research on it, and it's interesting to find a wise man like King Solomon having a lot of challenges with marriage issues, because there are stages of a relationship, and the first one is called infatuation stage. This is why there are lots of emotions. Like when you saw your wife the first day, and then for the first maybe 2-3 months it was just fire, right? You could even maybe talk at night for a whole 6 hours, and then you tell her, I don't feel like I've talked to you, I still miss you. You look like you experienced it.
Yeah.
I think all of us experienced that. And then after some time, you're not calling each other the way you used to. So Solomon used just to marry out of emotions, and yet still he was the wisest man. Yeah, because this first stage of relationship is quite interesting, because everything about that person is perfect. Yeah, the nose is perfect, the ears are perfect, and then after 1 year you realize this nose is bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
It looks funny, and now. The more you get negative emotions, then you realize, this person even snores very badly. Like one of the main causes of divorce in the US, number 3 reason is snoring. Yeah, someone is like, this nonsense, I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And then they just like, no, I can't stay with you. So my findings are that when marriages are starting or relationships are starting, they are well held by emotions. And then over time, as the emotions keep on, releasing the grip, then there develops some even other negative emotion. Because one of the most important things in life to study is in the area of emotions. Because the emotions of a person are very critical. Like that's why we cry. If you see someone who doesn't cry when you're supposed to cry, then that's a dangerous person. Somebody who doesn't laugh even when you give a very nice joke, there's a problem.
Yes.
So, and actually we've heard about guys called narcissists and such. They just don't, their feelings are so, they're out of this world. They can mess you badly. Yeah? So, basically what is causing a lot of breakups in marriages is the last stage of a relationship or a marriage is very critical, where you've matured, you've known that this person snores, this person, the nose is funny, but you still love them even uh, at that point. I mean, it's not about emotions, because that is why somebody will be like, I have this beautiful girl, I have this handsome person, and then they see another one, eh?
Yeah.
And then because you can be in the first stage of a relationship for a very long time, like Solomon. I call him Mansolo, because from stage one, you go with the same person to stage two, to stage three, and stage four and five. Yeah. But in stage one, if now you get bored by the person, you can go back to stage one with a different person.
Yeah.
You get.
Yes.
So the cycle can be even as you get to 90 and 100, you're still in stage one. So you never give you never give the relationship the time to mature.
Right.
You cannot stomach anybody who is messing up with the emotions. For example, before guys get into marriage, I've written in the book, it's called the chapter called the certification before coursework. You see, you had to graduate for you now to start doing what you do. But this one, like for me, my pastor gave me a certificate and he didn't tell me what I'm getting into. Now I got into school after I had a certificate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you realize, wow, 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 wow. The pastor never told me this person snores at night. Now what do you do at night? You can't sleep. Then you are spending that. So the negative emotions,
Yeah.
which are brought by so many other factors. Yeah? So, as an expert in emotions and thoughts and behaviors, it's very critical for people to learn how to control the emotions. Which kind of emotions do you allow? For example, let me give an example of how I protect myself from negative emotions.
Yeah.
I'm just giving it to directors somewhere. There's a football team that I used to support a lot. And every time after the match, I went home very heartbroken. And the emotion that is in disappointment and frustration took hold of my mind. Yeah?
Yeah.
And so what I did, I stopped supporting that team, and I stopped supporting any team. I support the team that wins. You get. So you can be sure by the 95th minute,
Yeah.
I'm happy. Yay! Chelsea has won. Yay! Man City has won.
Yeah.
Because you literally think about you literally think about the team you are really supporting. These guys don't even know us. Yeah?
Yeah.
They don't care. Even if I died, they won't even attend them. They won't even send something to our WhatsApp group. So we need to really get our emotions into action, so that we don't respond to emotions. You get, yeah?
Yes.
And that is why actually when you see people kill each other, it's not really a demon, according to me. There's a lot of emotional imbalance. Yeah. So when you see somebody jump from one relationship to the next, like Solomon, it's an issue to do with what I call emotional illiteracy. Yeah. Even something like rape, it's emotional illiteracy. How did you get there? And emotion, they don't just come. There's a journey that they follow for them to to come over.
You are calling it emotional illiteracy. And
Yes.
the way we have seen this, we have witnessed that people
Yeah.
are now moving from one marriage
Yes.
to another.
Yeah.
So this is emotional illiteracy.
Yeah, yeah,
What
sure.
about those people who are very, very much committed to marriages,
Yes.
and it gets to a time and they say that we cannot tolerate these people. We have to look for another person. Yeah.
You see, let me go back to emotions. Like when you talk about, you've seen how dogs are passionate about other dogs and they do crazy things. The brain of a dog is the front of brain is called the cognitive brain, the one that's supposed to think and reason and do what we call executive functions. That of a dog is very small, and that of a person is very big. And the emotional brain of a dog is very huge. And the emotional brain of a person is not very huge. That means when God created us, he gave us a very clear cognitive to help us to reason, to learn. Even our learning when you go to school is a cognitive functions. We learn, we study, we develop ourselves so that we can make decisions. Yeah. So the less wired the cognitive is also a reflection of the more hyped the emotional brain is. So that's why you hear people are not thinking, and even you see the way people are just having relationships and sex and all that. They are not in their right minds. The cognitive is so degraded, and the emotional illiteracy has really busted to a whole new level. Yeah. So anybody who is jumping from a relationship to the next, the right thoughts are not in place. And that's why you hear people do a lot of mess when they are drunk. Yeah, because the cognitive is so impaired. But the emotional brain at that point is in action. You get?
Yeah.
So you will there's no stable person who will be jumping from one relationship to the next. They might look stable maybe because they have a suit or a tie. And then they have a maybe a position in church or something, yeah. Because some of them are even pastors, yeah. But anybody who is jumping, there's a cognitive impairment, yeah. Because even when people face problems and challenges which you are all likely to face in marriages, you don't keep on jumping and jumping. They jump to the next, then they realize, hey, this is worse than the previous one. Actually, research shows that the second marriage is likely to fail more. The third one, the more you increase, the more likely those marriages that are likely to fail. I think that was the example of Solomon. And maybe he saw one girl and he's like, oh, I need this one. I married a fat girl who snores at night. Now I need a thin one. Then it goes for the thin one. Hey, these thin ones have an issue with anger. No, I need to go for a tall one. He kept exchanging because he was not in his right mind. Yeah? But and that is why you find like the word of God really streamlining our cognitive, because we are learning the laws of God, the will of God. So that if I am saying now, I married a crazy woman, that mad woman, we can talk and deal with the madness, because it's just the impairment. How can we probably bring together these thoughts with the cognitive functions, maybe by studying books, by having seminars. What is the kind, you can imagine, this is how I look at it. You can imagine sitting on an exam. Like one day I sat on an exam, something told me, I think this is the devil, the same devil who has been giving us trouble. He gave me an idea and told me I'm a genius.
Yes.
And I don't have to study for exams. I'll just be passing with the left, right, centers, A. And so I went and sat for a serious exam. I tell you, I failed. I scored a very strong E. And until the teacher summoned me, come, we talk. What is it? That means there's we really, if you sit on an exam that you have not studied, you're likely to fail. So people have very little knowledge when it comes to marriage. You ask people, how many books have you read when it comes to marriages? How many seminars have you attended? There is a lot of it. They've never gone to school, and yet it's a very serious exam that they found themselves in. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And when we were offline before we started our show,
Yeah.
you mentioned to me about a book that you are writing on marriage.
Yeah.
What is it all about?
Yeah, the book is called The Marriage Puzzle, to patch before and after you say I do. It's a puzzle. Marriage is a puzzle. And if you don't patch every corner and every end, then it's going to remain open. And that's open space means that you're failing, you're doing badly. There's breakups and all that. So I've written that if you jump from one relationship to the next, you're only trying to patch a puzzle, which you can't patch like that. You get? If you now jump after trying to patch that, then you realize, no, it's not working. You patch another one, then you realize, no, like Solomon,
Yeah.
because you see at the end of the day, Solomon was saying like this is nonsense, this vanity of vanities. Yeah. Yeah, after marrying, and then he's like, what's all this now? Look at all this nonsense of the highest level. I don't even think Solomon knew some of the names. Maybe he used to call them A, B, C, A1, A2, A3, because you can't get all those names. And so it's an issue that what I've written in the book, it's an issue of patching the puzzle. Because if everybody got it right, then it will definitely bring some results. If we behave in a certain way, if we think in a certain way, the results are very predictable that this will be the results. If we think in a certain way, have attitudes about maybe marriages in a certain way, then the results are very predictable. Yeah. So it's a book to help the singles. Like one of the reasons I've asked guys in who are single is, why are you marrying? You know, there are many reasons that people will say they are marrying, but they end up not even, you know, being in touch with those reasons. Why? Maybe somebody was pressured by parents. You are now 32. You're going to mess our family. Now, why are you not married? And so someone just rushes and just gets, you know, a partner. And then, you know, by 36, they are divorced. By 40, he's dead because of the, you know, impact that is as a result of divorce or separations and such. Yeah? So the marriage puzzle is to help the singles and also to help those who are in marriage. Like, instead of you guys divorcing, are there other options? Yeah, because the results are also very dangerous, even to the children and to ourselves. One of the main reasons as to why many people are depressed is because of broken relationships and broken marriages. Yeah, if a girlfriend of high school could leave you and then you are so heartbroken, marriages are very painful.
Yeah.
And it's even a girl from Kisii and you are from Kiambu. You met somewhere in Nairobi as there was a talent show or something, and then now they are not replying to your you know, that those breakups are very painful. And so a marriage breakup is very painful. So you can imagine someone leaves this relationship, they live with their heartbreaks, goes to another one. Now you can see the compilation of a lot of heartbreaks. That's one of the reasons as to why so many people are experiencing depression as we speak today. It's very damaging.
There is something very important
Mm.
that you have mentioned about children,
Mm.
and there have been some things that are going
Mm.
on the families that are, the marriages that are breaking up,
Mm.
and the kids.
Mm.
What is the impact of these broken marriages to the kids, especially who are in schools?
Yes. So one, if I happen to divorce today, my son, who is 7 years, his chances of divorcing are 4 times higher than mine. Okay, that's according to research.
When his time comes.
When his time comes,
Yeah.
because it's what we call social emotional learning. So we are, you are translating, or you are rather passing emotional illiteracy to your child. You are passing a weakness, yeah. And it's the same case as something like suicide. If you commit suicide, then you have passed that weakness to a family, to your children, to people close to you. Get it? So one is that the chances of your children having a successful marriage are almost zero. You get it? Number two, emotions are very important in learning. Eh? So positive emotions, they are involved so much in learning and the cognitive functions. So you'll have kids who are not understanding anything in school. They are scoring strong E's, like I did that time.
Yeah.
And then you are asking yourself, so how comes my children are not performing in school? So performance in school is badly affected. Yeah? Number three, you're forming trauma in those children. Because when a father leaves the mother, these kids, they love the father, they love the mother. So there's no way of convincing them why you left the mother. Even if you tell them that your mom is an idiot.
Yeah.
There's no way they can understand that. So when you leave your children, it's a form of loss and grief that is worse than death. Why? Death has closure, you know?
Yes.
This one doesn't have closure. Because why did dad leave us? Why did mom leave us? You? So it forms trauma that is likely to cause other mental disorders. For example, depression, which is associated with also many other disorders as well. Yeah. So even when you talk of suicides, suicide ideations, and the likes, they are associated with this kind of disorders that as a result of this. Yeah. So it's something that moves from A to B to C to D to E, and all the way. So it's so dangerous because when trauma forms in a child, it grows with them. And the more they grow, the more it sticks. Because, like, for example, if there was this divorce, this separation, it's not addressed in future, it becomes very lethal. It's so lethal that you find kids engaging in drugs. Actually, research shows that one of the main causes of lesbians is dysfunctional families. When you get to the internal elements, things like the hormones, the good feel hormones and such. So a girl, how do you convince a girl whose father he left them that she should be married? You've already broken God's structure in a family setup. So these kids are messed up, and now they find themselves in school, and there are many. There's that. So that's how lesbians and all that. It's research, not just like I'm speaking out of my own thinking. Yeah, that it's a channel. Their causes, their triggers, and so those are some of the causes of these separations and divorces to children. And so it's something that will go for a long, long time if we don't take action today and probably decide, what, my marriage is going to stand. Not because I don't want to be an idiot and say, I'm going to go for this. There's a greener grass I saw, and because you've not stepped on that as a side, and then you keep on jumping, and transferring the same weakness. So it's something that's likely to go for a long time if we don't break those chains. These things called generational curses are things we can address through knowledge, through some simple decisions like some cognitive wiring, because God really made man. He made a dog very intentional to have a very big emotional brain, and he made man with a very good cognitive brain for these kind of functions, for these high level functions. You get it? Yeah.
This is pure pure mental health issue, because the emotional learning has a lot.
Yes.
And someone outside there is wishing to know, how do you deal with your mental health issues while in marriage?
Yeah. So one, you need at least support from experts, from marriage experts like family therapists or even psychologists. Yeah. But it's very good to dissect because, like, what a family therapist will do, what will happen if I get a patient, I'll be able to pin out everything. I'll not look at it from a point of what I believe the Bible says you should not divorce, and maybe you're living with a narcissist. Yeah. So all those evaluations are very critical. Assessments are very critical. So professionalism is very important. Yeah. But even before you get to that place, if your person is a person when they haven't gone to those levels, yeah, you don't suspect any mental illness, or it's possible to heal such a marriage through now start the process of learning. You need to start even defining. Let's start by the definition itself. You need to start from the basics. What is marriage? Because I think many people have never even thought what it is. They are just married. And you need to go back to the basics, like what is the plan of God? What is the intention of God? Why would God bring a woman in my life? Why would he bring a man in my life? What is his intention? Like, for instance, we need these discussions. We need to ask ourselves, if we divorce, what are the consequences? If I go and pick another girl somewhere, what are the consequences? How based on maybe how good I'll feel, and the other impact, the negative impact, which carries more weight. Now, those are the functions of the cognitive. It's until the cognitive is well enhanced that we are able to heal. So any marriage can work as long as maybe the person is not having mental disorders, which now can be assessed by experts. And we are like, but many people who are divorcing now, they don't have mental disorders. Maybe they have their own mental disorders they've created for themselves. But when you assess them, you realize these guys are okay. So these are emotional and cognitive issues, and cognitive and behavioral issues that we can address. Yes.
Well, now that was me. And how do you deal with each other's emotions while you are in marriage?
While you're in marriage, yeah?
How do you deal with your partner's emotions while you are in marriage?
Yeah, you see, emotions emotions are crazy. You've ever seen you saw somebody cry and then you start crying, especially for women. Yeah, there's a lady I saw screaming in a certain barrio, and I thought they had a very close relationship with that person, only for me to find her screaming in another barrio. Um, over somebody they were not related. I was shocked. What is it? So emotional illiteracy is past. It's like it's so viral. It's so viral. And like somebody comes here and calls me a dog, and then the next moment they might receive a blow, or I might say I'll teach this guy a lesson, because how illiterate you are emotionally is how more likely you are to respond to emotional triggers. You get, yeah? So someone slaps you, and then before you give them the other one, you've already dealt with them. You've taught them a lesson of a lifetime. Yeah, all these are emotions. Yeah, so we need a school that is called a school of emotions. In the UKs and the US, there are schools that are called, especially even in primary school, secondary, it's called SEL, social emotional learning. Yeah? So we need schools of emotions where we are able to now identify, oh, I have issues to do with anger. And this anger is not like something that cannot be, it's tangible, it's something we can address. For example, there's a part of the Bible that says, don't pile up your anger, because the anger you get today, you pass it tomorrow, and if you don't deal with that, for example, let me give my own example. There are people who have wronged me badly, and at some point I've hated them. I felt, these guys, and I've learned to forgive. And even now, I've forgiven everybody who wronged me in the past. And I know maybe on Monday there's somebody who wronged me. I've already forgiven them before they wrong me. So by the time they are wronging me, they're already forgiven. You get it? So that's a kind of emotional literacy, where I know how to deal with my anger. I used to get very angry in the past. And there's a way that anger had formed. There's a way it was built over a period of anger is like files. They pile. So when the file is this big and then you step on someone, then that triggers all the files. It's not because of maybe stepping. You think it's stepping. You're like, hey, just start stepping on you. And then you have all those insults. No, it's not because of that. It's because of the pile up of the files. So they need to deal with each file at a time. Yeah? So that's emotional literacy. That's how emotions are taught. And so the collaboration between the cognitive and the emotions is very close. But now we need these kinds of schools. I personally have been in those schools. I've been teaching these things. So probably over time, we'll be able to build or to adopt the same curriculums, so that we can be able to see, because each case is a bit, specific, what disturbs you. Okay, of course, there are general findings on each and every marriage, but also we can be able to address the specifics and build up emotional literacy. It's very, very critical.
Wow, wow. My viewer, yeah, you have heard it for yourself that you need to go to emotional school. You need the emotional literacy so that you are able to deal with your partner. And before we bring this session to closure, someone is asking, what does it mean when they say that a happy wife is a happy life. Would you mind elaborating this for us?
Oh yeah, a happy wife is a happy life. Yeah, it's true because these women, when they receive a seed from you, it multiplies. So if you throw some anger in her, it will multiply. You will throw your own when maybe it's 2, and then she gets it, she multiplies it like 1,000 times. You cannot defeat a woman when it comes to maybe arguments or talking. But some men are competing with women nowadays. They are there engaging and also, it just bursts out. So, how emotions work, even if it's not like specifically a woman, like joy is an emotion that's very critical. Peace is very critical. If you don't have peace and you throw the same frustrations to your wife, that frustration will multiply in the house. You find nothing in that house has peace, including the cat. Everything, yeah, everything is running for its life. And actually, as I was growing, because back at home, there are such issues. Our cat was always running, even when there is no danger, running. And when my brother sees it, hey, Puss, what is it? What are you doing there? Everything was running. The dog is running. There was a lot of fear in everything. Yeah? So when there's joy in a certain place, in a home, in a family, it's infectious. Everybody will be happy. When there's trust, when there's love really spreads very well. People can know you love them. Even when you get some crazy guys and you love them, and they want to kungeta you like this, they will not. Just tell, hey guys, uh, you know, they won't. But when you now start throwing punches and showing them how tough you are, you've done taekwondo and all that, it will pass to them, and then you will face it the way it's supposed to be. So it's a matter of what are we passing to our wives, what are we passing to our husbands, because you pass what you carry. If I carry anger, bitterness, I'll be passing it to them. So somebody who didn't have issues to do with anger, all of a sudden they have anger issues, frustration issues. Yeah, so basically, all this is a matter of what am I passing to her? What am I passing to my children? There are people who, when they see the dad come to the house, the children just run to the bedrooms because the father is something else. You get? So it's just a matter of passing the emotions, passing the love, passing the grace, passing the gratitude and all that. Yeah.
You have had it for yourself that marriage works, but there is so much that we need to put into action. We need to put a lot of emotional literacy and to make our cognitive minds work. Thank you so much, our guest,
Welcome.
the author, the psychologist, and the IT expert, Isaac. And before we bring this to closure, on our last session, so many people asked where to get the book, The Deception Behind Suicide.
Yeah.
Where would they find this book, and
Well,
at how much?
At how much? Yeah, so this book has a wide variety of prices. If it's from 700 all the way to even 50,000, depending on you, because you also donate a lot to maybe schools and such. So the book, the market price is 1,000 shillings. For students, it's 700, and it's on our website, www.globalpsychologysupport.com. You can download it there. It will ask you for the PIN of your phone and then deduct you some 1,000 and then you get it. But also, the hard copy is very critical. We have it, and I think the best thing is because we're in Nairobi, in Ruiru, and different places, we dispatch the products. We can give the number so that they can order as well. Yeah? So when you call that number, you do a request, then it will be done very, very fast. 072 382 346, 0724 382 346. Any part of the country will be able to dispatch to you. And especially if you pay 1,000, we'll be able to also cater for the costs of the transportation. Yeah. So finally, or again, just the number is 0724 382 346. Yes.
Thank you so much to you who were asking about this book. It's there on the market. And let us all normalize the conversation. Let us rejuvenate our energy discussing these mental health issues. Because when we talk mental, we talk wealth. And when we talk wealth, we talk life. And when we talk life, we talk about a good place to live. I have been your host, Kevans, the director.